All right, guys, we're going to rock and roll here shortly on the show. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. We do have a little bit of breaking news here. Tony Elliott has confirmed at the press conference held minutes ago that Chandler Morris will play against NC State. Chandler Morris will play against NC State. Tony Elliott has confirmed at the press conference minutes ago, that Chandler Morris will play against NC State. Like and share the show. Judah Wickhauer live on my personal Facebook page. Live on I Love CVille. I saw us live on YouTube. You confirm LinkedIn.
All right.
If you can also confirm Twitter, that would be good. We're going to start the program at T-minus 30 seconds. We're going to end the show at about 1:05 today, at about a 35-minute show today. Ladies and gentlemen, about 35 minutes long. We're going to talk about policy that council will consider tonight at its September City Council meeting. I don't want to call it a ban on homelessness. I don't think this policy is a ban on homelessness, nor do I think this policy is criminalizing homelessness. I think it's a way to potentially manage homelessness, however. Yeah. And we were the first to report of any media outlet that this policy was coming down the pipe. Judah, can you confirm that? We've been talking about that for weeks on this program. Like and share the show. We're live on my page. Bill, thank you, though, for checking. We are live on my page. I just confirmed. Appreciate you, William McChesney. You're a good man. One of our favorite viewers and listeners. J-Dubs, are we live on LinkedIn?
Yep.
All right, we are live on YouTube. I will confirm Twitter in T-minus 10 seconds. You ready to rock and roll? What compels you? What do you find compelling about today's show, Judah?
We've had Police Chief Conscious on our show several times, and he's always shown to be a rational and smart man who's not out to just criminalize random people. And I believe he's always pushed to do the right thing. I think his presentation tonight will be about how if something is to be done about the homeless in Charlottesville, we first need to set a framework for how to go about reacting to things like, people setting up tents in places where they shouldn't, ways to interact with them, and basically just set the ground rules for how these things are going to work.
Well said. Look at the screen, viewers and listeners, for today's headlines. I like to feel like I know Chief Conscious well, and he's not a man that wants to weaponize the law.
Right. And he also doesn't want to take his police force and use them to round up homeless people.
Right. Nakia Walker, Matthew Gillikin, and Stephen Johnson. Nakia Walker, the former mayor, Stephen Johnson and Matthew Gilligan of livable CVille on an absolute warpath right now. We're going to talk about what is coming down the pipeline. Nakia Walker, you should be watching the show. We'll have some commentary about you, the former mayor, on the program today. Like and share the program. It is the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille show. Judah Wickhauer, we're ready to rock and roll when you are.
Quiet on the set.
Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille show. A pleasure to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille network, a program that is locked and loaded with a considerable amount of content today. We hope you enjoyed the Labor Day. We hope you caught the new show we launched on the I Love CVille network. It aired yesterday at 10:15 a.m., and it's going to air on Mondays at 10:15 a.m. moving forward. It features Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Fry. Jeff Gaffney, local luminary, the leading points scorer for the University of Virginia men's soccer team till this day, the all-time points scorer, goals and assists for men's soccer, Jeff Gaffney. He's the CEO of Real Estate 3. Dr. Wayne Fry, the senior pastor at Faith Christian International on Pantops. Those two gentlemen have launched the Everyday Faith show on the I Love CVille network, which will air Mondays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille network. I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy two really smart guys talking about their faith on Mondays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille network. A lot we're going to cover on today's program, including something we've been prepping you, the viewer and listener, for a month and change now. Our sources in City Council indicated that this was coming down the pipe in July. And since July, we've been peppering the news cycle with City Council. Their first meeting in September will have an opportunity to discuss policy, approve policy that will help Charlottesville, Virginia manage its homeless population. And this is a sensitive subject. We don't expect viewers and listeners to agree with us on everything. We don't expect viewers and listeners to disagree with us on everything. We want viewers and listeners, however, to feel something after watching each episode of the I Love CVille show. And I think after we're done today, you, the viewer and listener, will certainly feel something. I'm going to ask you an open-ended question, viewers and listeners. Does Charlottesville, Virginia have a management problem with their houseless and homeless population? I'll give you a moment to think about that. Does Charlottesville, Virginia have a management problem with their houseless and homeless population? What can be done with the houseless and homeless population to create and build a better life for everyone? The houseless and homeless population, the small business community, local taxpayers, local tenants and renters, local homeowners, local elected officials, local police officers. We live in this world where all those categories are impacted by this. There's a huge difference between a hand out and a hand up. And I understand the concept of offering a hand up to everyone. Goodness gracious, we have all had our backs against the wall. We've all had our backs against the wall where we've wondered where the groceries are going to come from, how the bills are going to be paid. Are we eating ramen noodles again tonight? Do we go without eating a meal? How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to pay the mortgage? 90% plus, almost clear-cut majority of the people listening to this program have been in that position before. It might be a different kind of bill. It might be a mortgage instead of rent. It might be tuition for your kids as opposed to putting gas in your car. But everyone's asked themselves this question: how am I going to pay a bill? And everyone understands the difference between a hand up instead of a hand out. And right now in Charlottesville, Virginia, we need to admit this. The small business community, local taxpayers, just everyday Joes and everyday Jennifers like you and I, we have been, for years since COVID, been asking Charlottesville and City Hall and City Council to do something about the quality of life impact we have with the houseless population in this community. And tonight, City Council has an opportunity to do something about it. There's policy in play that will be considered that may potentially afford council, the police department, City Hall, and us as a community a way to improve quality of life on the downtown mall, on the Rivanna Trail, and in our public parks, in our medians, in our intersections, and in very visible spots where the houseless has become not just more prolific and prevalent, but from a perception standpoint, potentially a problem. So much to cover on the show, including how Nakia Walker, the former mayor, is responding, how Livable CVille, the urbanist policy lobbying group led by Matthew Gillikin and Stephen Johnson, are responding, Chief Kachis, how he's a part of this, and what City Council will do and how it will impact their legacy moving forward. Boy, oh boy, do we have a great program for you. Judah Wickower, studio camera, then a two-shot. I want to thank John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion for being a part of the program. 61 years in business. John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion are honest. They're communicative. They understand how to run a business on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. Viewers and listeners, order your sanitary supply needs through Charlottesville Sanitary Supply in person or on their website and not the big box stores. 3 generations of business, and 5 generations in Albemarle County, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. Judah Wickower, I would like for you, if you could please, to set the stage of what's happening tonight, and then we will offer our commentary. The show is yours, my friend.
So tonight, City Council will meet to discuss a proposal to create policy, as Jerry has said, that will give essentially Chief Conscious and the police a framework for how they deal with some of the issues that we've been having with homelessness. And this is not about arresting the homeless. This is about how we prevent people, using public spaces as storage for their stuff, and how we deal with essentially, people sleeping in doorways and on public land. The presenter tonight will be Police Chief Conscious, and I believe he'll go over the reasons why it's necessary to set a framework for how to deal with this.
The reasons seem pretty clear to me. Quality of life has been impacted. Mm-hmm. Safety has been impacted. Health concerns are significant.
And it's not just
economic impacts are tangible and palpable. How many people have said downtown mall and doing business in downtown Charlottesville is more difficult now than before the pandemic because of some of the challenges we're facing with the houseless and homeless population? How many times have viewers and listeners, taxpayers, how many times have small business owners, how many times have elected officials, how many times have our children come downtown and seen something they should not have? I cannot put in perspective how many it's impacted me, you, Judah, us being down here 50, 60 hours a week, every week, my children, my wife, you, the viewers and listeners. It's unfortunate that Chief Conscious is in this position. It's, from my standpoint, not the police department's position to be in, but I don't understand any other organization, any other outfit or team that can lead this charge.
Well, I believe the reason that Police Chief Conscious is the one presenting is because you're right.
The complaints that have come to his department.
But they are the only ones that can do anything. We're not going to send social workers to help people move stuff. There needs to be laws in place that set down the record for how we do this. And anyone reading the agendas and minutes of the city council meeting for this evening, I feel like it would be very hard to misapprehend what they are saying. It spells it out in clear language. It's addressing camping and public rights-of-way, storage of personal property in those areas. The proposed ordinance seeks to balance public safety, accessibility, and quality of life concerns with a compassionate and empathetic approach to enforcement. And it goes on. If you want me to read the whole thing, I will. It's well written. It explains what they're trying to do. It explains that this is not about criminalizing homelessness. Yes, it does involve classifying certain actions as a class 4 misdemeanor, which is not a jail penalty. It doesn't provide jail penalty. It's set in place because you need laws in order to enforce what you want to enforce.
100%. Let me ask the viewers and listeners this question. Should we be allowed to sleep on city property or in public parks? Should we, viewers and listeners, be allowed to store our belongings, our personal belongings, on city property in public parks for extended periods of time? Answer that question, viewers and listeners. Should you be allowed to store your personal belongings in parks, on the downtown mall, in the vestibules in front of the storefronts in downtown Charlottesville, or in other aspects or locations of the city? Should you be able to sleep in parks despite clear curfew deadlines and times to leave the park and public property? It's obvious that you should not be able to do this. It is obvious. Some of the ramifications that can be used to modify or manage this behavior as we've been talking about for weeks now on the show, because we knew that this was upcoming and we wanted to give you the heads up, is the police now has the opportunity to take the possessions of the homeless.
And store them.
Store them for 60 days.
Yeah.
We're not talking take the possessions, throw them in a garbage truck, and bring them to the dump.
And it also states that that if the possessions, if what they find are not providing a what's the word? If they're not dangerous to anyone, if there's no problem with them, they can give them 10 days to move them. This is not, nobody's going to be going around and...
They're giving them a heads up and notice that they need to do something with their belongings, that they can't keep them on the parks, the downtown malls, the storefronts, or the medians in the city. Plenty of notice, folks.
And once again, this...
I Love CVille is not live. We need to reconnect that page, please. There's plenty of notice here.
Yeah. And again, this is not an order for the police to start going hog wild, taking people's possessions and kicking people out of parks. This is an enabling process. This is an enabling policy that allows them to do something. It gives them the ability to do something. I don't believe that, for instance, the guy, the very kind man outside of the post office, I don't think he's going to get bothered, because he hasn't been a bother to anyone. This isn't about the police having the ability to harass every single homeless person in the city.
That is TBD. Do you have I Love CVille Facebook back live?
It's going on.
Okay. That, I think, is to be determined. The very kind person that's the veteran of a foreign war that's sleeping in the post office, right outside the post office door, that's using the downtown post office as his living room and his hangout room, I don't think that's above board.
I don't know.
But I think this policy, to Judah's point, is to pursue the houseless population that is antagonistic, that is angry, that is in your face in downtown Charlottesville and elsewhere. The city and council will be discussing this tonight in their first September meeting. And I'm going to tell you right now, Brian Pinkston, Juan Diego Wade, Lloyd Snook, Michael Payne, and Natalie Oshrin, what you determine tonight will be a part of your legacy. And if you do not have the courage and gumption to face a very small minority of people that are led by Nakia Walker, who frankly seems deranged and unhinged with her Facebook commentary on this topic, and Livable CVille, Matthew Gillikin, and Stephen Johnson, who have been on the wrong side of most issues policy-wise locally, if you don't have the thick-skinnedness to go toe-to-toe and face the social media backlash and the public commentary portion backlash from Nakia Walker, Matthew Gillikin, Stephen Johnson, and their cronies, then this is something that's going to impact your legacy. And as Judah Wickhauer has said, and please rotate the lower thirds on screen here, Mike Kochis is a reasonable, he's a measured, he's a thoughtful man. He's a man that does not want to use the law as a weapon. He does not want to weaponize the law. And I can assure you that Chief Kochis has received hundreds, if not thousands, of complaints from local taxpayers, local residents, average Joes and average Jennifers like you and me, complaining about quality of life, safety issues, drug use, open container, human feces, human urination, just feeling uncomfortable in downtown Charlottesville, on the Rivanna Trail, medians around town.
Yeah.
This is the first step for Charlottesville to potentially turn the corner post-COVID on a houseless issue that has become out of control. And ladies and gentlemen, I empathize with anyone that's in this position. Hand up instead of a handout. Do we have a problem with shelters in this community and not having enough beds for the houseless population? Hell yes, we do.
100%.
Should part of the taxpayer contributions and part of the many hundreds of millions of dollars of yearly Charlottesville budget be utilized to help figure out a solution for the houseless issue? Yes. Did they try to do it with the Salvation Army site on Cherry Avenue in Fifeville? Yes. Did the people that live in Fifeville next to the Salvation Army site do the not in my backyard fight against this shelter next to their neighborhood? Yes, they did. Have I said on this program that Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville should do a JV, a joint venture, where they pool their resources to build a houseless shelter epicenter somewhere in Albemarle County? Yes, I have. It should include more beds. It should include computer labs, laundromats, drug rehabilitation resources, alcohol rehabilitation resources, and counseling. It should include resume services. It's got to happen in the county because there's nowhere in the city to do it. There's not enough land to develop. Albemarle County's Board of Supervisors, Charlottesville City Council should JV, joint venture, a concept where they pool resources. And they say if we do this, if we do it on a bus line and we create a center that's going to help both jurisdictions, it's going to be great for the houseless population, it's going to be great for the small business community, for economic development, for the university. Heck, the University of Virginia should be a part of this too. It should be a triology with the three, UVA, Albemarle County, and the city. Mm-hmm. All three of them should be a part of it. The chief conscious I know does not want to weaponize, ladies and gentlemen, the law. The Joe Plantania I know does not want to weaponize the law. Mm-hmm. The Jim Hingley I know does not want to weaponize the law. But it's gotten to the point where locals in this community are beyond frustrated. We walk outside on the downtown mall and are routinely stepping over human feces. That is not an exaggeration. June, am I right?
I've never actually stepped over it, but I have gone around
Okay,
it.
so Jude is going to get into minutia over there. You're playing Frogger with feces, are you not?
I have seen it.
Okay, there you go. Man of many words. Kyle Irvin wants to know, can we get the police chief on the show this Thursday? He's the communications director with Charlottesville Police Department. Yes, Kyle Irvin, we can get the police chief Kachis on the show. Please do a text chain with us, and Chief Kachis locked and loaded for the show this Thursday. Absolutely. I see a man who's sensibly trying to put a plan in play that will potentially empower police officers to create a solution for an improved quality of life. I see a man that is tasked with a responsibility that no police department should be tasked with. The police force should not be tasked with homeless management. But there is no other group that is better fit to do this, unfortunately, because you're not going to send some social workers out at 11 o'clock at night, at 2 in the morning, at 8 o'clock at night, at 7 in the morning, and to manage the houseless population we see in downtown Charlottesville that is oftentimes intoxicated, high on drugs, antagonistic, and aggressive. And if you have 250 houseless in this community, I would bet you the percentage of houseless that actually causes problems is below 20%.
No doubt.
And by now we know who those folks are. But the police in the current state has such little that it can do. Please rotate the lower thirds on screen so the viewers and listeners can know what we're talking about. They have such little of what they can do on this topic that their hands, pun intended, are cuffed behind their back. And now you have a former mayor, Nikiah Walker, and you have a urbanist lobbying group called Livable CVille that, frankly, where Livable CVille started, where it originated as a lobbying group for bicycle and pedestrian safety. It originated as a lobbying group for improved public transportation, and it originated as a lobbying group to try to stabilize price points with housing. Now, Livable CVille has turned into a lobbying group where it's basically trying to use its influence to get public schools and the University of Virginia to clash over the Federal Executive Institute, to try to utilize public school teachers as leverage against UVA and say, let's use these teachers and keep them from hosting UVA students to pursue their in-classroom hours. And if we don't get the Federal Executive Institute from UVA, we're going to tell the university that their students can't teach in our classrooms anymore. It's turned into a lobbying group that is so anti-police. It's turned into a lobbying group that has radicalized the new zoning ordinance to the point of tying it up in lawsuits, to the point of being a laughingstock in zoning nationally. I don't even recognize what livable CVille has become. And if you, the viewer or listener, don't push back on this organization and say, where you started, okay, I get your launch point, but now with this new zoning ordinance, and now you trying to stigmatize Mike Conscious, and now you trying to attack the council over houseless, homeless management, what are you doing? You're making the community worse. And Nakia Walker, the former mayor, I'll say it. Her commentary of late is absolutely deranged on social media. It is deranged and out of touch on social media. And I hope she hears what I said. All everyone wants in this community is a Charlottesville quality of life where parents can bring their kids to downtown Charlottesville in the evening. Or where date night can happen in downtown Charlottesville and you can walk from your car to go get some dinner and to drinks and back to your car and feel okay. All we want is safety. We want small businesses to feel supported. Ask the business community in the downtown mall if their revenues are down, if their volume of customers is down. And I want to emphasize this again, and then you jump in here, Judah Wickhauer. The policy that they're discussing is not criminalizing homelessness. And if anyone says they're criminalizing homelessness, you need to push back on them immediately. That's not what's happening here. They're giving the houseless population a 10-day warning to remove their possessions from public property.
As long as there's no danger.
If there's danger, they can remove their property right away.
And put it in storage.
For 60 days, storage. So hear what they're doing here. If a houseless contingent of people or a houseless individual is on public property or a public park, and this man or woman is causing danger, the police can take their possessions and store away from them and store it for 60 days. Mm-hmm. If they're not causing danger, they will give them 10 days notice before they remove their possessions and then store them for 60 days after the 10 days notice. On top of that, the worst case scenario here is potentially a misdemeanor class 4 that involves no jail time.
Just a fine.
Just a fine. Now, Nakia Walker is trying to spin. Oh, you're telling me these houseless population has the money to pay the fine? What happens if they don't pay the fine? They're going to throw them in the slammer. That's what she's saying. That's an exaggeration. That's an extreme. That's deranged.
Yeah.
That's out of touch, what she's saying. Out of touch. There's a reason during her term, it was one of the most tumultuous periods in Charlottesville governance in its history. This is called a civil approach to a problem that's percolated into an economic catastrophe, a quality of life conundrum, and a straight-up safety hazard. "10 days to take your possession off the public property. Don't sleep in the storefronts of private business. Can't sleep in the park. There's a curfew. Can't sleep on the mall. If you're causing trouble, we'll take your possessions from you right away, and then we'll store them for 60 days. If what you're doing is causing a safety hazard, we're going to prioritize you, as you should." You know that the Ravenna Trail encampment below Freebridge? The feces and the trash and the alcohol and the drug paraphernalia found there upon removal? Families hike the Ravenna Trail by the river under Freebridge, and are playing Frogger with drug paraphernalia, feces, trash, alcohol. That's not right. Comments coming in quickly. Absolutely, Kyle Irvin. We can get Chief Kachis on the show on Thursday. Judah Wickower, the show is yours.
I think that Nakia Walker and and Matthew Gillikin are. I think they're being disingenuous if they're not outright lying. We've got this advocacy alert that outright says it's going to make it illegal to sleep on city property or leave personal property unattended. While the city claims otherwise, this is a blatant and unacceptable attempt to criminalize homelessness in Charlottesville. The fact that we haven't even had tonight's meeting yet, and they're already basically alleging what the outcome is going to be, I find troublesome. And the fact of the matter is that we've already discussed most of the way we see things. We know that we know that Police Chief Kachis is a reasonable person. We know that he doesn't want there. He's been in office. He's been police chief long enough for us to have a clear vision of who he is and what his police force is. And there is no evidence to support him turning his police force into a Gestapo group of hobnail booted,
thugs. Yeah, I would bet you $100 that he doesn't even want the police to be the people to solve this problem.
No, he doesn't. But there needs to be something put in place to deal with the problem.
Bingo.
Without something in place, we're left with what we have right now, which is people sleeping in doorways, people going to the bathroom in alleyways.
And I'm telling you right now, I've heard through the grapevine from extremely reliable people that the guy that runs, the folks that run the Haven over here have an exit acquisition price to purchase the real estate and the dirt for the Haven. And it's about $5 million. It's at an extremely inflated value for what the actual tangible value of the real estate and the dirt are, $5 million. And how I was told is, I want $5 million to exit this. If not, we're doubling down with what we're doing here.
That's too bad.
That is leveraging and or extorting the houseless to drive real estate values to cause a more expensive exit than what market would suggest. That's how I've been told the situation is. Not everyone in this scenario is a genuine player.
Right.
Tonight's the meeting. And for Lloyd Snook, and for Brian Pinkston and Juan Diego Wade and Natalie Ocean and Michael Payne. And Lloyd Snook just walked by. He's about to walk through the hallway next to our studio right now.
Well, speaking of the council,
this is as significant of a vote that they have ever done.
Certainly.
This is as significant as a new zoning ordinance. This is as significant as filling a city manager. This is as significant as a real estate tax rate increase. This is as significant as any vote this council has ever done and will, without question, be associated with their legacy in Charlottesville for generations to come. You go mute, or you don't have the courage and gumption to stand up for what's right for the community at large, and you fall prey to the very small number of people that are going to be pressuring you this evening, the Nakia Walker contingent and the Livable Charlottesville contingent, and this is a sting and a stench that will follow you 6 feet under and longer. And you mark that down. I'm not saying this is going to be etched on your tombstone, but this will be on your Wikipedia page. This will be on your Wikipedia page for your kids and grandkids to read. Mark that down, counselors. Jim Hingley sends this text. In my 49 years of law practice in this area, this is the Commonwealth's attorney texting us here of Albemarle County. In my 49 years of law practice in this area, I have never seen non-payment of a fine imposed for conviction of a Class 4 misdemeanor result in a jail sentence for non-payment.
Yeah.
In my Commonwealth's attorney Jim Hingley, in my 49 years of law practice in this area, I've never seen non-payment of a fine imposed for conviction of a Class 4 misdemeanor result in jail sentence for. Think about that.
Right.
They're not criminalizing the homeless here.
And nobody's going to go shake them down trying to get the money from them if they are fined. The fines are part of the foundation, the structure by which we uphold the law. If you have no fine, if you have no
consequences, there's no enforcement.
If there's nothing to call something, then how do you enforce it?
If there's a speed limit and it's 55 miles an hour, and that speed limit's 55 miles an hour, and you go 80, and if you do not get a ticket for going 80 in the 55, you get stopped by the police, but there's no consequences once the stop happens, what's going to keep you from going 80 the next day or after the police car leaves the stop?
Yeah. And if you continually do it, there's also, yes, there is a way to say, look, we've given you a fine. We've told you not to do this. Now we have to escalate. Without that, there is nothing you can do. You just say, please stop doing that.
Deep throat, and then we are ending the show in 4 minutes. I have a 1:30 meeting that's important that I have to get to. We're going to talk Chandler Morris, starting quarterback. This news just broken. Tony Elliott at his press conference says Chandler Morris will play against NC State Saturday. The injury, where some thought, including me, could have been concussion or a serious shoulder injury, he said Chandler Morris will play, and he will play, and he will ball out. We'll talk tomorrow about Mike Kinnick and Rock Revolution, a fantastic rock climbing gym that is open on Old Ivy Road. Mike Kinnick, his wife Jessica Kinnick, their daughters, the local owners of Rock Revolution. This is a fantastic business. We'll talk about that and highlight it tomorrow. They had their grand opening over the weekend. We'll talk the University of Virginia launching a web portal for their search for their 10th president. That portal is now active. So much we can cover on the program. Tonight, City Council will discuss a policy to potentially take Charlottesville back to what it was in 2019, where the houseless population did not have the impact on the community that it does now. And I don't want anyone to take anything out of context here. This is not about lacking empathy. This is not about offering a hand up, but it is absolutely against offering a hand out. Do we need more shelters? Yes, we do. Should the city and Albemarle County do a joint venture on a houseless shelter in Albemarle County because they have the land where there's drug and alcohol counseling, where there's resume services, a laundromat, a computer lab, cots and beds for sleeping, where kids and women and men can stay safely? Absolutely they should. Bathrooms, absolutely. Showers, yes, that should be done. We should literally pool our tax dollars and do this. Our tax dollars should go to this. And I'm not one to tax, but we should do this with our tax dollars.
Yeah.
But the solution we have now, where anyone can go sleeping nilly-willy anywhere, whether public or private property, there's clients of mine that literally have to do a deal with the houseless population who are sleeping on their personal property under their storefronts of the downtown mall. And these small business owners, I'm talking men and women that are 70 years old and older, 65 years old and older, have to broker a deal with the houseless population. You can't do drugs here, you can't pee here, you can't poop here, you can't drink here. But if you don't do those things, I'll turn a blind eye and let you sleep in my storefront as long as you're gone by 7 a.m. No one should have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Deep-throated. It's costly to have the homeless people acting out on the mall, leaving junk in parks, etc. On the other hand, a bed in jail is probably even more expensive. But if we are willing to put homeless people in jail, why not build a low-barrier shelter next to the jail? It's not like you are putting a shelter in a residential neighborhood, and surely will be cheaper for the city and better for the homeless than the jail. You can't sleep here in the mall. You can come to the shelter next to the jail, or you can be in jail. At least it is a choice. And there is a storage space for your stuff at the shelter. There's the joint venture. Create the Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville joint venture down Avon Extended. They're already sharing the jail. Let's see what council does tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and what is one of the most significant policy conversations that 5 people in local government will have in Charlottesville in generations. I'm going to follow closely, and you should too. And for the Nikiah Walkers and livable CVilles of the world, enough already. The extent of how you are presenting this, criminalizing homeless, is distasteful and disingenuous. That's the Monday edition of the I Love CVille show. For Judah Wickhauer, I'm Jerry Miller.